think about that a lot when I'm outside. It's when I hear God the most, so he talks to me, and I feel that way when I'm in the garden and thinking about the seeds. Well, not my thoughts, but he helps me think about the seeds and how, they must feel so scared and alone and cold in the dark. But we're planting them by faith. But if you think about the life of a seed and the experience of that seed, because it is living, it is alive, it, longs to spring forth and to come through the surface. But for a season, it's in the dark and it's in the cold and it's uncomfortable and it's wet and it's saturated. I said probably feels like it's drowning, every time we water it. And how often in our own lives we feel like we're drowning or like our head is just above water, like that seed. But, then one day that seed will break through. And one day in your life there will be breakthrough and you'll blossom into something beautiful.
Yeah. Spring is that for us, right? And I think that, like, with it, some people love the winter, they love the cold. That's not our family. not even a little bit. But there's good in it, right? Like, I think that sometimes you just got to look for the good in the season. And winter, it brings snow. Kids love snow. Like, I remember growing up, I remember the first time that you saw snow, I would happen to be there.
Yeah.
And it was a kind of, God blessed me with that moment where I actually got it, where we took pictures. And it was in Sedona. And there's this joy, right? There's this, like, glimpse in your eye that's just like, yeah, that's what snow does for kids, but it also does it for adults whenever you're like, oh, snowflakes and things. It's kind of neat. But also, like, there's good in certain seasons. You got to look for the good part of that season, right? And without the winter, there's no spring. And so you also have to look to, like, this season brought me to this other season. I mean, for our story, if we're looking to parallel that to life, like, our winter brought our spring, and even again, the next year happens again. Meaning, like, later in our life, we had to go through that winter again to really bring life again. And I think sometimes, sometimes we like to be polarizing, or we like to be binary, right? As human beings, we like to say everything was good or everything was bad. And it's like, no, this season allowed me to have this other thing. And that's the joy of that season. That season, like, there's a lot of seasons in our life where it's like, man, I don't wish anybody to relive that. That's awful. But it's without that season, we don't have this.
Right.
And so I think, and we're trying to give our kid that perspective right now. Remy's struggling with the idea that some of his friends may not be returning to the school that they go to, right? And so he's kind of struggling with the idea that, like, I want the friends I have now forever. And we talked last episode about Eden having that same experience with, like, I know this, right? And it's like, man, there'll be a day when you're married, there'll be a day when you have kids, where, like, the friends that you establish when you're a child, they won't matter as much. And that's your season. Your season is being a kid. And that's good that you have friends. But nothing is forever, and everything has seasons. And so, but I think sometimes we forsake the season. It's like, why are we doing that? So